Speaker Dade Phelan is going to a runoff. It's March 6, 2024, and these are your headlines. Well, obviously, yesterday was the primary election in Texas. We had a lot to talk about, a lot up at TexasScorecard.com. If you joined us for our live stream last night as we were going through those results, plenty to talk about. We're not going to go through all those results right now, but the biggest story, perhaps, out of the night was the fact that the Speaker of the Texas House, Dade Phelan, will be heading to a runoff after failing to receive the support of a majority of Republican voters in his district. Now, Phelan was first elected to the House in 2014 and has been Speaker since 2021. He'll face off against former Orange County GOP Chairman David Covey in a runoff election that is certain to garner attention from across the state. Now, Phelan had been criticized by conservatives for failing to pass conservative priorities, placing Democrats in leadership positions, and leading the charge, of course, to impeach Attorney General Ken Paxton last year. Former President Donald Trump endorsed Covey, calling any Republican who backed Phelan a fool. Well, Phelan received about 45.8% of the vote, with Covey earning 45.3% last night. Alicia Davis, a Jasper County activist, took around 9% of the vote. Covey was joined by Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick at his election night watch party. Now, Lieutenant Governor Patrick has been a vocal critic of Phelan, but he had not officially endorsed Covey. Well, today, Lieutenant Governor Patrick put out a scathing statement in which he said, quote, "The expiration date on Dade Phelan's speakership is plainly written on the bottle. Last night was a referendum on his leadership, and Republican voters, the conservative majority, spoke with great clarity." He went on to say Dade Phelan failed in his role as Speaker. He led his members to take bad votes on the House floor that cost them dearly at home. The cardinal rule for a Speaker is to protect his members. He ended by saying the message was delivered by the voters. It's not his seat. It belongs to the people. It was a great night for the conservative majority in Texas. In his own statement, Phelan blamed a, quote, tidal wave of outside influence and the relentless flood of special interest dollars pouring into the House district, but said he's more determined than ever. His optimism, however, may be a little misplaced, especially when you look at the history. It's been more than 50 years since the Speaker found himself in a runoff election, and that Speaker lost. Now, the runoff election will take place on May 28th. So with Dade Phelan in political trouble at home to hold on to his own House seat, already in the Texas Capitol, you have rumblings about who will replace Dade Phelan as Speaker. And a lawmaker rumored to be eyeing the speakership in the Texas House is employed by a bank that has connections to current House Speaker Dade Phelan and disgraced former Speaker Dennis Bonnen. That's State Representative Cody Harris, a Palestine Republican, was first elected to the House in 2018. At the time, he was a real estate broker for Liberty Land and Ranch, LLC. So he was in real estate. In August of 2021, however, Harris added a new item to his resume, Vice President of Business Development for Third Coast Bank. The change in career is notable given the bank's ties to the current and former Speaker. In late 2019, Third Coast Bank acquired Heritage Bank, where Dennis Bonnen had served as president, chairman, and CEO. He currently now sits on Third Coast Bank's board of directors. Phelan's brother, Lan Phelan, was a director of Third Coast from 2013 until at least 2016. That's according to filings with the Secretary of State. A 2021 filing with the Securities and Exchange Commission showed that the bank's Beaumont location was leased from the Phelan family's investment firm. Additionally, the most recent personal financial statement from Dade Phelan shows that he owns shares in Third Coast. The connection between Harris and the current and former House leaders is especially notable in light of Phelan's electoral performance on Tuesday. With Phelan being forced into a runoff election, talk of who the next Speaker will be, regardless of whether or not Phelan survives the runoff, has already begun. Harris is among the short list of names currently said to be gunning for the spot. Harris did not respond to a request for insight into how he received the position or comment on the appearance of impropriety.
The Luke Macias Show is your access to what happens behind closed doors in Texas politics. Listen weekly to me, your host, Luke Macias, as I break down what is actually happening in conservative politics in the Lone Star State, a state that we all love and cherish. Listen weekly wherever you listen to podcasts. This show is a product of Texas Scorecard.
Lastly, Attorney General Ken Paxton filed a lawsuit against Hutto Independent School District, claiming the district used government resources for illegal electioneering, bringing the total number of districts Paxton has sued to 7. According to a release from his office earlier this week, Hutto ISD promoted political policies on its social media and used government resources to do so. The lawsuit filing states that Hutto ISD's promotion goes against the Education Code, which prohibits anyone from using official government resources to electioneer for or against any candidate, measure, or political party. The filing also claims that the school district used public funds for political advertising, prohibited by the Election Code. Hutto ISD's social media post, published on Facebook on February 28, said, "Education is always on the ballot. Vouchers hurt our public schools. For every 100 hippos lost to a voucher," they are the Hutto hippos, by the way, "for every 100 hippos lost to a voucher, Hutto ISD would lose $1.15 million, which could mean a loss of 18 teaching positions or 8 new school buses." Attorney General Paxton has also filed lawsuits against other school districts claiming illegal electioneering, including Denton, Frisco, Denison, Castleberry, Huffman, and Aledo. For more of today's stories, go to TexasScorecard.com.